The Zareth Empire ruled half the galaxy. Their ships were fast, their armies were strong, and their scanners could see everything, every defense, every weakness. Every planet they attacked fell quickly. No one could stop them. Until they came near Earth. Commander Luroth stood on the bridge of his battleship, watching the small blue planet float in space. "Earth," he said quietly. "Another weak world with loud words and small guns." His second officer, Traxel, laughed. "Scan them. Let's see what they're hiding." The scanner ship moved forward, ready to do its job. It locked onto an Earth warship near Mars. The human ship was large, old-looking, not impressive. "Begin deep scan," Traxel said. But something went wrong. The scanner ship froze. Its lights blinked once. Then it shut down completely. The screen turned black. Inside, the Zareth crew screamed for help. Then silence. A few seconds later, the scanner ship exploded. No fire. No warning, just a quiet burst of dust in space. Commander Luroth stared at the screen. Was that an attack? "No," Traxel said. His voice was shaking now. There were no weapons fired. Nothing touched it. Luroth looked at his crew. All of them were silent. All of them were scared. He pressed a button on his chair. "Send the order. No more scans on Earth's warships." "But Commander," Traxel said, "we need to know what they're hiding." Luroth narrowed his eyes. "I've seen this before." Everyone on the bridge turned toward him. "Years ago," Luroth said slowly, "the Varnak Empire tried to scan Earth's fleet. They had stronger tech than we do now. But after the scan, they disappeared. The entire empire. Gone." "But that's just a story," someone whispered. "No," Luroth said. "It's a warning." In a dark cell on one of the Zareth ships, a captured human sat with his hands tied. He looked calm, too calm. Luroth entered the room and stared at the man. "You know what's inside your ships," Luroth said. "Tell me." The human smiled. "You tried scanning, didn't you?" "What is it? A weapon? A virus? A trap?" The human leaned forward. His eyes were cold. "You really want to know?" Luroth waited. The man whispered, "You don't want to wake what sleeps inside." Far away on the surface of the moon, Earth's military command was watching. General Rey stood in front of a large screen, watching Zareth ships move around slowly. "They stopped scanning," she said. "Should we activate defense systems?" one officer asked. Rey shook her head. "No, not yet." She looked at the ships again. "Let's see how much they already fear us." Back on the Zareth ship, the mood changed. The crew was uneasy. Even the machines on the ship made strange sounds, as if reacting to something unseen. In the dark corners of the war room, ancient records were being opened. Old files, forgotten stories. One by one, they searched for answers about Earth. And they found the same warning again and again. "Do not scan. Do not look inside. Let the sleeping one sleep." Traxel looked at the screen showing the Earth warship again. "It's just metal," he said. "It looks normal." "Looks can lie," Luroth said. "And sometimes a shell hides a monster." The captured human was moved to a new cell, deeper in the ship. Cameras watched him. Guards stood outside. Still, he smiled. He closed his eyes and whispered a name, something in a language not spoken anymore. The lights in the hallway blinked. One guard stepped back. "Did you feel that?" The other guard nodded. It got cold. Inside the cell, the human opened his eyes. "You scanned the surface," he whispered. "You touched the edge." He looked up at the camera. "And now it knows you're here." In deep space behind Earth's moons, one of the human warships powered up. Its systems began to glow softly, on their own. No pilot touched the controls. No command was given. The ship turned slightly, pointing at the nearest Zareth scanner drone. Its sealed inner chamber let out one soft sound. A heartbeat. Earth's warships looked old. Their outer design was simple, nothing special. No glowing energy cores, no sharp alien weapons, just thick steel, dark colors, and quiet engines. But deep inside, something very old was watching. Commander Ray stood in Earth's secret moonbase. She looked at a large screen showing the enemy fleet above. Zareth ships floated like hungry sharks, but they were quiet now. No attacks, no scans. Ray spoke calmly. They tried to scan us. One of their ships exploded. Her science officer nodded, just like last time. How long do we have? She asked. Hard to say, the officer replied. If they scan deeper, they'll wake it. Ray looked at a second screen. This one showed a human warship, codenamed Oblivion. In the center of the ship was a sealed vault, locked for over 200 years. No one opened it. No one tried. Because everyone knew what was inside. Meanwhile, on the Zareth command ship, panic was growing. Traxel walked quickly through the halls, carrying a report. Commander Luroth, he said, our history scans found something. From the time of the Varnek Empire. Luroth took the report and read it. His face grew pale. What is it? Traxel asked. There was a ship, Luroth said slowly. The Varnek scanned it. Within a day, their capital was destroyed. Not attacked, erased. No signs of battle. No survivors. He looked up, and the ship they scanned was human. Back in the Zareth lab, a curious scientist ignored all orders. His name was Drac. He believed in knowledge above fear. I will scan their ship, he said. Deep scan. Full systems. He targeted an Earth warship parked alone in Saturn's orbit. Beginning scan now. The moment he pressed the button, strange things started happening. The lights dimmed. The computer screens flickered. Then a shadow passed over at his lab, a shadow from nothing. He heard a whisper not through his ears, but inside his head. Found you. And then, silence. When his team went to check on him 5 minutes later, Drac's lab was empty. His chair was still spinning. An hour later, his ship was found floating in deep space. No crew, no damage. But inside, claw marks ran across the walls, deep and wide like something large had walked through. Zareth AI decoded his last message. Just 3 words. It knows you. Commander Luroth read the message. He stood still for a long time. Finally, he called his officers. No more scans. Full retreat from the inner system. Earth is not what we thought. One young officer asked, what do they have? What's inside those ships? Luroth didn't answer. He just looked at Earth and whispered, a deal made long ago. One we were never part of. Back on Earth, General Ray stood before the vault inside Oblivion. The vault was massive, thick metal, covered in old runes and protected by radiation fields. On the front was a warning. Do not open. It dreams. A young soldier beside her asked, what's really in there, General? Ray took a deep breath. Before the United Earth government was formed, there was war. World War II. Billions died. We thought it was the end. But then, she continued, they came. Not aliens. Not gods. Something older. They said they could end the war. They said they'd protect us. In return, they asked for a place to sleep. Safe. Quiet. Hidden. So we built the ships around them. The soldier looked afraid. And if they wake up? Ray looked at him. Her voice was cold. Then the stars will burn. High above Earth, one Zareth scout ship ignored orders. I just want to look, the pilot whispered. One small scan. I'll keep it low. He locked onto a human ship and ran a fast pulse. Inside the Earth ship, the sealed vault thudded. Once. Loud. A low sound echoed through the ship, a sound like breathing. The ship's lights turned red. The engines roared, but no one had touched the controls. The ship moved on its own. It aimed straight at the scout ship. Before the Zareth pilot could blink, a dark energy beam shot out, faster than light. His ship vanished. Zareth Command received no data, just a final burst of static. Then their screens went black. Commander Luroth stood slowly. "It's too late," he said. "They've seen us." The Zareth Empire had never retreated from a planet before. Never. But now, half of their fleet pulled back from Earth's orbit. No orders were spoken. No pride was left, just fear. And silence. Commander Luroth sat alone in his chamber, staring at a dark screen. He had seen war, death, even star-eating black holes. But this was something different. "They didn't fire weapons," he whispered. "They didn't send threats. They just let us see." He pressed a button. A shaky video played, the Earth warship Oblivion, turning by itself, aiming at the scout ship, then destroying it in one blink, without moving, without warning. The destruction was clean, perfect, silent. Luroth turned off the screen. That's not human technology. Far away in a hidden Zareth archive ship, ancient files were being studied. One scientist, Elder Vor, had found something buried deep in forgotten language. He read the record aloud. Thousands of years ago, before the age of light travel, a species called humans made a pact with beings from beyond known space. Another scientist frowned. What kind of beings? Elder Vor looked up slowly. Not gods, not machines, something older. Did these beings help humans win wars? No, Elder Vor said, his voice now trembling. They ended wars. Entire civilizations vanished after Earth's ships arrived. The other scientist asked, "Why didn't we know this before?" Elder Vor showed him a single word burned into the ancient data. Erased. In Earth's moon base, General Ray was watching satellite feeds. Earth's warships had not moved. They didn't need to. The Zareth fleet was already pulling back. "Status on Oblivion?" she asked. Her officer replied, stable, "But something is happening." "What?" "Small power surges. As if the core inside the vault is breathing faster." Ray didn't look surprised. They felt the scan. The officer whispered, "What happens if it wakes?" Ray said nothing. She just looked at the stars and whispered, "Pray it doesn't." In deep space, a Zareth battlecruiser, one that stayed behind, began to panic. The captain had ignored the retreat command. He believed Earth was still weak. He believed fear was just a trick. He aimed his ship's main weapon at the human vessel orbiting Saturn. "Fire in 5 seconds," he said. But just as the countdown reached 2, something appeared. A shadow behind the Earth ship. It didn't show up on radar. It had no heat signature. It wasn't even a ship. It was more like a shape. A living dark cloud, massive and coiled like a serpent. It moved without sound, without force. It blinked once, and the Zareth cruiser vanished. No explosion. No debris. Just gone. Commander Luroth was informed within seconds. He stood, heart pounding. That wasn't technology. "No, sir," his officer replied. "It was something else." Luroth stared out the window. What kind of planet protects itself without firing a single shot? He turned to his crew. "This is not war. This is a warning." In the prison cell aboard Luroth's command ship, the human prisoner watched as alarms blinked across the hallway. He smiled. A guard shouted, "What did you do?" The prisoner looked up calmly. "We didn't do anything." He leaned forward. "You did. You looked too deep." "What is it inside your ships?" The guard yelled. The prisoner answered in a low voice, "We call them the Old Sleepers. They live in the dark spaces between stars. They made a deal with Earth a long time ago." The guard's hands trembled. "Why would they protect you?" The human smile faded. "Because Earth promised never to wake them." He leaned back. "But your curiosity, it's knocking on their door." Back on Earth, a hidden chamber opened deep below Antarctica. Inside, a dark orb began to glow. A voice spoke from within the base, through radio signals and electrical pulses. No one knew how it spoke, but everyone heard it. They are close. They are watching. Do you want us to wake? General Ray stared at the screen. She didn't speak. Do you want us to burn the sky? Ray answered, no. Then protect the silence. And the orb went dim again. But somewhere far away at the edge of known space, another empire had noticed what happened. Not Zareth. Something worse. They watched the reports. They saw the shadows. They read the word oblivion. And they smiled. They made the deal, one of them said. Now we'll break it. Long ago, Earth stood on the edge of destruction. Nations fought each other with fire, disease, and nuclear bombs. Cities fell. Oceans boiled. Billions died. The year was 2139. And then, they came. The sky opened above the North Pole. But it was not a ship, not a creature. It was a hole in the stars. From it, 5 shapes stepped forward. No one saw their faces. They wore shadows as armor. Their voices echoed in every language. They said just one thing: make peace or become dust. Within hours, all fighting stopped. Within days, the world changed. General Ree stood in the ancient room deep under Earth's surface. The walls were made of black stone, older than anything built by humans. On the floor was a circle of glowing symbols, still warm, even after 300 years. Beside her stood a historian, one of the few allowed to read the old books. Do you know what the deal truly was? The historian asked. Ray nodded. Protection. In exchange for silence and space. Yes, the historian said quietly. But it was more than that. Earth gave them something else. What? Ray asked. He looked around, then whispered. A place to sleep, but also a warning system. High above Earth, inside the Zareth fleet, Commander Luroth met with his science team. They had decoded one of the last human radio signals from centuries ago. It said, "We bury our gods in steel. If they rise, run." Luroth didn't understand everything, but he understood fear, and now he felt it deeply. He turned to his crew. Prepare a message, not to Earth, but to the High Council. Far beyond Zareth space, the Threx Dominion watched carefully. They were older than Zareth, crueler, hungrier, and they didn't fear Earth. They didn't believe in legends. They believed in conquest. Their leader, Supreme Mindful, laughed as he watched the recordings of Oblivion. They think we fear their ghosts, he said, but ghosts can be destroyed. He ordered 10 of his strongest ships to move toward the solar system. We will test these sleepers, he said, and if they wake, we will learn how to kill them. Inside Oblivion, a whisper passed through the ship's walls. The vault shook, just a little. A pulse of cold spread through the steel. In the command center, systems came online, without human control. One screen showed a word in ancient human language. Rising. A pilot screamed, "General Ray, the vault, it's changing." Ray rushed to the screen. She saw the symbols flash, faster and faster. She gave one command. Silence all scans. Shut down outer comms. Total blackout. But it was too late. Someone else had already seen. In deep space, the Threx fleet picked up the pulse. A signal, like a heartbeat. One of the Threx captains leaned forward. "It's alive." Follower smiled. "Good. Let's knock louder." Back on Earth, the historian returned to the old texts. He opened a hidden page with trembling hands. It spoke of the first awakening. He read aloud, "When Earth bleeds and the sky watches, they shall stir. When pride touches the vault, the sleepers will remember. And when 3 stars fall in line, the door shall open." He checked the sky maps. 3 stars were aligning over Saturn, tonight. Inside the vault, the temperature dropped below 0. The steel walls groaned. Something inside had begun to move. Not fast. Just enough to show it was no longer dreaming. Commander Luroth saw the signals. He knew Threx was coming. And he knew what they would do. He turned to his crew. "We must warn Earth." His second-in-command hesitated. "But they may destroy us just for speaking." Luroth nodded. "Yes, but if Threx wakes the vault fully, it won't matter. Not for them. Not for us." He opened a secure channel. "To Earth Command. This is Zareth Fleet. Message of warning. The Threx are coming. They will not listen. They will touch the sealed one. Prepare yourselves." Then he turned off the system. "May the stars protect us," he said. Down below, deep in Antarctica, the orb lit up again. It whispered into the minds of every leader on Earth. "They come. They want to see. We told you, do not let them see." General Ray stood still. "What do we do?" her officer asked. She answered with a single word: "Pray." In the last second of the night, under 3 stars now lined in perfect silence, the vault inside Oblivion cracked. Not open. Just enough to breathe. And the galaxy shivered. Silence filled the control deck of the Earth warship Oblivion. But then, a sound. Not loud. Just a slow, deep breath, like wind in a tunnel, but colder. The vault had cracked. And something inside was waking. Pilot Serena gripped the arms of her chair. Her voice trembled. "General Ray, the vault is breathing." Ray stood still, watching the screen. A cold mist was leaking through sealed steel. Not steam, not gas. It was alive. She whispered, "Lock down every system. No one enters the vault. No one speaks to it." "But it's not asking," Serena said. "It's listening." Far away, the Threx fleet entered the solar system. 10 warships, sharp, black, and filled with hungry soldiers. Their leader, Captain Vorik, spoke into the silence. "Earth is quiet. We strike the vault. If something answers, we record. If it fights, we kill. No fear, no doubts." The Threx believed in power, and they believed nothing was stronger than them. Inside Oblivion, the vault shook once. Then again. One heartbeat. Then another. The lights across the ship dimmed. A strange voice echoed inside every crew member's mind. It didn't speak words. It showed memories. Burning skies, screaming stars, civilizations erased in seconds, planets turned to glass. One image stayed in every human's head. A creature of black light, with 10 arms and no face, walking across a dead moon. General Ray fell to one knee, her vision blurred. "That's what we buried," she whispered. "That's what sleeps inside the vault." On Earth, alarms rang across deep command bunkers. Scientists watched as energy levels rose. Something was building under the surface, power not seen since the first contact 300 years ago. The historian opened the last page of the ancient book. It read, "If they breathe, then pray they don't speak. If they speak, then pray they don't stand. If they stand, the stars will bleed." Commander Luroth received a report. The Threx had entered Earth's system. He slammed his fist on the console. "They're going to wake it." His second-in-command asked, "Should we flee?" Luroth shook his head. "There's nowhere safe. If they open the vault, none of us escape." He sent one last message to Earth. "They are here. You must not let them near the vault. If it opens fully, we all die." In space above Saturn, the Threx ships reached Oblivion. They didn't wait. One Threx destroyer fired a pulse beam at the ship's vault. A perfect hit. The steel cracked open. For 1 second, just one, the vault door opened enough to reveal the darkness inside. There was no light. No sound. Only a single floating shape, tall, shadowy, with burning white eyes. It looked at the Threx ship and blinked. The destroyer exploded without a sound. Not fire. Not debris. Just gone. The other 9 ships backed away fast. But it was too late. Oblivion no longer floated. It moved. Not through engines. Not with thrusters. The entire ship glided forward like it was being carried. Its lights turned red. A voice, deep and cold, echoed into every nearby mind. We were promised sleep. You woke us. Inside the vault, the creature fully opened its eyes. It wasn't angry. It wasn't loud. It was simply awake. It stepped forward. One step was enough. Across the Threx fleet, systems failed. Power died. Engines froze. Oxygen turned to ice. The Threx leader, Captain Vorak, tried to scream, but no sound came. Before he died, he saw something outside his window. A second creature. Then a third. All walking toward Earth. Back on the planet, General Ray gave one final order. Activate the seals. Call the last agreement. The historian placed his hand on the glowing stone in the command room. He spoke the old words. Return to sleep. We protect your silence. We did not call them. For a moment, everything stopped. No wind. No sound. Even time felt still. Then a whisper returned. We believe you. But the stars have broken the deal. One price must be paid. The creatures stopped in space, floating like giants over the planets. They looked around. Then one of them pointed to a distant place. The Threx homeworld. In less than a breath, the sky above that planet turned black. And then nothing. The planet was gone. Not destroyed. Removed. Inside oblivion, the vault slowly closed. The creatures stepped back inside. And just before the steel sealed again, the voice returned. Let none knock again. Oblivion powered down. The red lights faded. The ship returned to orbit. And silence returned to space. Commander Luroth, watching from far away, whispered, They erased an entire world for waking them. Back on Earth, General Rhys stood outside, staring at the stars. Tell the galaxy, she said. Her officer nodded. Tell them what? Ray looked up. Tell them Earth keeps its promises, and the price for breaking one is everything. The stars looked peaceful again. Earth floated quietly in space. Oblivion was silent. No light. No sound. Just a massive shape guarding the orbit. But everyone knew it was not just a ship anymore. It was a warning. And a grave. Commander Luroth stared at his screen. His crew had been quiet for hours. One by one, galactic species were falling silent. No new messages. No threats. No plans for invasion. The galaxy had learned. Earth was not to be touched. On a distant planet, the Threx Council's empty throne room echoed with silence. No survivors. No second chances. Just dust where pride once ruled. General Ray stood at the edge of the Arctic vault. Snow blew across the ice, untouched and endless. Behind her, oblivion rested above the clouds like a sleeping god. Ray whispered, We survived because we remembered the deal. The historian beside her nodded. Others forgot. And now, they remember through fear. Ray turned to leave. Made sure the story is told, not to make Earth proud, but to make the stars afraid to forget again. Galactic News Network sent one final report. A simple sentence, broadcast in every language. The warships of Earth are not scanned, because inside them sleeps something older than war. No one argued. No one laughed. No one came closer. In the deepest part of the vault, something shifted. Just a breath. Just enough. And a whisper passed through the steel, through the oceans, through the stars. It didn't speak loud, but it was heard everywhere. We are not weapons. We are not gods. We are the last memory of silence, and we will not be woken twice. On every ship, on every world, leaders wrote a new law. Earth is not to be scanned, not to be touched, not to be named. And so the galaxy changed. Not because Earth had the strongest weapons, not because Earth had the biggest fleet, but because Earth had something worse. A whisper that made the stars afraid to speak.